Hi, everyone. I got Sharon on the line, and she wants to explain something to us about not an election, but a revolution. And, we're needing a revolution, Sharon, so please tell us about it.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, and thanks, Gary. This was sent to me in an email, and I thought it was worth reading to you guys. It was written by Daniel Greenfield, and it says he's a Shillman Journalism Fellow at the Freedom Center, is a New York writer focusing on radical Islam. And then it's called Not an Election, It Was a Revolution. And this is how it starts. It's midnight in America. The day before, 50 million Americans got up and stood in front of the great iron wheel that had been grinding them down. They stood there even though the media told them it was useless. They took their stand even while all of the chattering classes laughed and taunted them. They were fathers who couldn't feed their families anymore. They were mothers who couldn't afford health care. They were workers whose jobs had been sold off to foreign countries. They were sons who didn't see a future for themselves. They were daughters afraid of being murdered by unaccompanied minors flooding into their towns. They took a deep breath and they stood. They held up their hands and the great iron wheel stopped. The great blue wall crumbled. The impossible states fell one by one. Ohio, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Iowa. The white working class that had been overlooked and trampled on for so long got up to its feet. It rose up against its oppressors and the rest of the nation, from coast to coast, rose up with it. They fought back against their jobs being shipped overseas while their towns filled with migrants that got everything while they got nothing. They fought back against the system in which they could go to jail for a trifle, while the elites could violate the law and still go through the presidential election. They fought back against being told that they had to watch what they say. They fought back against being held in contempt because they wanted to work for a living and take care of their families. They fought and they won. This wasn't a vote. It was an uprising. Like the ordinary men chipping away at the Berlin Wall, they tore down an unnatural thing that had towered over them. And as they watched it fall, they marveled at how weak and fragile it had always been. And I saw that too. And how much stronger they were than they had ever known. Who were these people? They were leftovers in flyover country. They didn't have bachelor degrees, had never set foot in a Starbucks. They were the white working class. They didn't talk right or think right. They had the wrong ideas, the wrong clothes, and the ridiculous idea that they still mattered. They were wrong about everything. Illegal immigration, everyone knew it was here to stay. Black Lives Matter, the new civil rights movement, manufacturing, as dead is the dodo, banning Muslims. What kind of bigot even thinks that way? Love wins, marriage loses. The future belongs to the urban metrosexual and his .com, not the guy who used to have a good job before it went. They couldn't change anything. 1,000 politicians and pundits had talked of getting them to adapt to the inevitable future. Instead, they got in their pickup trucks and they drove out to vote. And they changed everything. Barack Hussein Obama boasted that he had changed America. Yeah, for the worse. 1 billion regulations, 1 million immigrants, and 100,000 lies, and it was no longer your America. It was his. He was JFK and FDR rolled into one. He told us that his version of history was right and inevitable. And they voted and left him in the dust. They walked past him. They didn't listen. He had come to campaign to where they still cling to their guns and their Bibles. He came to plead for his legacy, and America said no. 50 million Americans repudiated him. They repudiated the Obamas, the Clintons. They ignored the celebrities. They paid no attention to the media. They voted because they believed in the impossible, and their dedication made the impossible happen. Americans were told that walls couldn't be built and factories couldn't be opened, that treaties couldn't be unsigned and wars couldn't be won. It was impossible to ban Muslim terrorists from coming to America or to deport the illegal aliens turning towns and cities into gangland territories. It was an impossible. 50 million Americans did the impossible. They turned the world upside down. It's midnight in America. CNN is weeping. MSNBC is wailing. ABC calls it a tantrum. NBC damns it. It wasn't supposed to happen. The same machine that crushed the American people for 2 straight terms, I'd say a lot longer than that. The massive government, corporations, and nonprofits that ran the country were set to win. Instead, the people stood in front of the machine. They blocked it with their bodies. They went to vote even though the polls told them it was useless. They mailed in their absentee ballots even while Hillary Clinton was planning her fireworks victory celebration. They looked at the empty factories and the barren farms. They drove through the early cold. They waited in line. They came home to their children to tell them that they had done their very best for their future. They bet on America, and they won. They won improbably, and they won amazingly. They were tired of Obamacare. They were tired of unemployment. They were tired of being lied to. They were tired of watching their sons come back in coffins to protect some Muslim country. They were tired of being called racist and homophobes. They were tired of seeing their America disappear. And they stood up and they fought back. That was their last hope, their last chance to be heard. It says watch this video, but I don't see a video. See 10 ways that John Oliver destroyed Donald Trump. Here's 3 ways Samantha Bee broke the internet by taunting Trump supporters. 3 minutes of Stephen Colbert talking about how stupid Trump is, owns the internet. Watch Madonna curse out Trump supporters. Watch Katy Perry. Watch Miley Cyrus. Watch Robert Downey Jr. Watch Beyonce campaign with Hillary. Watch 50 million Americans take back their country. Second, the media had the election wrong all along. This wasn't about personalities. It was about the impersonal. It was about 50 million Americans whose names no one except a server will ever know fighting back. It was about the homeless woman guarding Trump's star. It was about the lost Democrats searching for someone to represent them in Ohio, Ohio and Pennsylvania. It was about the union men who nodded along with the organizers, told them how to vote, but who refused to sell out their futures. No one will ever interview all of these men and women. We will never see all their faces. but they are all us, and we are them. They came to the aid of a nation in peril. They did what real Americans have always done. They did the impossible. That gives me chills. America is a nation of impossibilities. We exist because our forefathers did not take no for an answer. Not from kings or tyrants. Not from the elites who told them that it couldn't be done. The day when we stop being able to pull off the impossible is the day that America will cease to exist. And I don't think that day is ever going to come. Today is not that day. Today, 50 million Americans did the impossible. Midnight has passed. A new day has come. After all, it was not an election. It was a revolution. That's it.
That was a fantastic victory speech and a presentation of how it happened. And it's a changing point in our history right now. And you really defined it really well. It's like all the pieces are coming together, the little pieces, to make a big, huge impact and reclaim all that's been lost. It was fantastic, Sharon. Thank you.
Well, I'm thankful for my friend who sent it to me and for Daniel Greenfield who wrote it.
Yes, excellent.
Thank you, Gary, and everyone.
Yes, and thank you, everyone. And really, that is a fantastic presentation and speech. And you probably want to listen to that again, everybody. God bless each one of you.
Should make you feel really good.
That's right. You all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sharon.
You're welcome.
Bye.